Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Cassini Project. Last time, we were beginning... Well, there's going to be a hearing about ARIEL, and Komorova is involved, and plans were put into motion. And now the continuation. Logan, you're walking up to the diplomat where a certain someone you really don't like is sitting.
Yeah, I figured. I'm memorizing his routine.
He actually hasn't been on the station. This is the night before the hearing, actually.
Oh, really? Well, we've seen him before.
Yeah, you've seen him before, but he hasn't been here during this past week.
Oh, okay. What's he doing currently?
Looks like he's just drinking some tea and reading a pad.
I'm gonna replicate a meal from the replomat.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna walk over to him with the tray in hand. The seat taken?
No, but I really hope you're not planning on spilling that all over me.
No, not this time. I'm gonna sit down with my tray.
What's on it, by the way, for people at home?
A club sandwich, a cola, and gach.
The most Logan meal ever. Got it.
Yeah.
What is it you want, Harrison?
Just truce for right now.
He kind of looks up from his pad with a semi-incredulous face, and then he puts down the pad. All right, truce.
I guess I just wanted to ask you. Why is it you do what you do?
Logan, do you know part of the reason why my cover is on this station? It's because I grew up out here, on the border of the demilitarized zone. I grew up in the shadow of the Dominion War. I grew up, and the earliest news reports I remember were about the Maquis, about traitors and people conspiring against the Federation. I do this because I didn't want to see that keep happening.
Well, one could have argued that the Maquis had every right to defect. Perhaps not Starfleet officers themselves, but I mean, there's no policy stating one has to remain a Federation citizen.
No. But there's no reason that someone should run off and become a terrorist because of it.
Wow.
That was what I objected to. Watching the Maquis bomb other colonies, wondering if this was going to be mine next. At 6 years old, I had to think about that. No 6-year-old should ever have to.
So that's it then? Just fighting back against extremism and chaos?
My job is to keep the Federation safe. And that's all I've ever sought after.
You're aware that she's coming to the station, right?
I am. She's asked me to stay out of her way while she's here.
It's understandable.
Well, she specifically said she didn't want any complications between you and me, and here we are.
Like I said, just here to talk. Did Linda know you?
Yes. She had to.
She knew what you did?
No.
Okay. I guess I'm just trying to figure out why. I mean, from what I'm starting to piece together, I wasn't given much of a choice, but you had one. I just want to know who willingly walks into the dark.
You see it as walking into the dark. I see it as keeping the dark away from everyone else. Then he just kind of looks at you right in the eyes.
Harrison actually looks a little bit pensive in this case, rather than stone facing. I mean, I can only assume Catheris made the same decision.
I'll be honest, I have no idea what Catheris's decisions were to join us. I'm grateful that she did.
They
Now.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they then. Who the hell knows? That was always the issue with Catheris.
I guess recent events just made me a little bit. I mean, I
I
was always
understand.
curious about who I was before, but now it's just, yeah. Also, I think what happened with ARIEL and granted your involvement.
He kind of looks uncomfortable at the mentioning of Ariel.
Why? Can I figure it out? Can I read him and get an idea of it?
Presence Command, I'm going to say this one's going to be difficulty 3.
Sure. All right. Do I have a focus? Sorry, I got a cat. He's gonna be a little bit whining for a little bit.
It's fine. I'm just chuckling at it.
It sounds a little bit like Jasmine, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. So Insight Command, difficulty 3.
Yeah, no momentum. All right. Yeah, I'll just roll. And no focuses, right?
Intelligence Operations Focus.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Damn.
Yeah, no successes. He just stone faces you.
Mentally, I think, so that's what it feels like.
Look, Logan, I know this has to be harder for you. And I'm saying this not as an operative, not as a member of Starfleet, not as a member of the Federation, as one person to another. I'm wishing you the best. I may not agree with the decisions you're making now, but I can respect them. And he just gets up and walks away. It's at this moment that someone actually walks up to you, Logan. A young, he looks like he's a Trill, in an enlisted yeoman's uniform, walks up to you. Captain.
Yes.
And he just, I'm Yeoman Jan Silas. I'm gonna be your, your new yeoman.
Oh, I wasn't aware I was getting a yeoman.
Needed to, they need someone to, handle your paperwork and stuff. Sorry,
Yes.
if I seem nervous, it's my first assignment.
Oh, well, that's all right. It's apparently my first command, so you'll fit right in.
I think it's a little different. Do an insight command difficulty 1 on him.
Yeah. Sure. No focuses?
I think you might. Let me double check. Mental discipline actually would apply here.
Oh, dang. Okay. I get to bust that one out.
Wow.
No, okay.
Where was that? A minute
I
ago.
know, right?
He just kind of, you realize that his nervousness has, this is his first assignment as an enlisted officer, he has to be 19 and a half.
Well, yeoman, I wouldn't worry too much. I think our eventful days are. Well, I think the worst has already happened right now.
I certainly hope, sir. I would hate it if I ended up in the Iconian War. I'm glad I was in training during that.
Yeah, no, you've lucked out. All right. Are you probably going to want to report to Catheris though? So make sure you find them when you can.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, sir. Good night, sir. And he walks away.
God, they're so young these days.
All right. You gonna do anything else around here? Or
Not
you can
really.
move on?
No, just gonna finish my hybrid meal.
All right. Well, we're gonna move over to the next table over then, where two of your officers and one of their spouse are currently sitting.
Talus is just nursing a cup of Tarkalian tea.
Rayshawn is having some Rectigino pumpkin spice.
Wait a minute.
I don't know how you can stand that stuff.
That's just funny.
Yeah, it's delicious. What's Graz having?
Sweet.
Graz is probably having. Oh, he'll be having a Rectigino, just a standard. Not too sweet, not too strong. Just a pretty standard Rectigino.
Well, I talked to your mother.
Yeah.
I'm going to spare you a lot of what she said.
Well,
That's-
you might as well give it to me straight.
All right. She says, I don't want to... Well, and he kind of is audibly, like, skipping over what has to be a string of obscenities. Deal with a daughter who doesn't want me, or with her ridiculous husband that I never approved of in the first place. She
Great.
also said that she's not coming back on board. She's staying on Bajor.
Well, that's her decision. Not much I can do about it.
She was always
I
prone to these.
tried. I did what I could, but
Yeah, you did. Let her stew. She wants to do that, so be it. Her loss.
I don't know. Not that I remember what our relationship was like before or anything. It's just, damn it, I tried to do the right thing, and
I think the thing is you were her favorite.
her favorite.
Yeah. You were always the kid that she wanted to spend time with.
So of course, nothing I ever did was good enough. Probably.
On the contrary, she was really proud you joined Starfleet. And she always was looking forward to the day that you had a fourth pip on your shoulder.
I can't imagine ever wanting that. It's a lot of attention.
That's exactly what you told me when I asked about your career.
Well, I guess old Talus is still up here. And she kind of points to her temple.
Nah, I think she's here. And he points at his heart.
Were you always this way?
Pretty much.
Such a giant softy.
I know, it's weird from an Andorian. Hey, Grass, what's it like to... yeah. Hey, Grass, what's it like having a normal relationship with your family?
Graz sort of just snorts out a bit, not expecting, like sort of startled by the sudden change in conversation. Uh, and he sort of like just wipes off his nose. It's good. Thing is, I don't really have anything to compare it to. I don't know what was before. Don't know what it's like not to have a good parent. Yeah, so it's I suppose it's just hard for all of us in different ways.
Well, okay then.
But no, it's at least you've got each other to talk to. I can talk to Dad. Yeah, at least you have that.
Well, I mean, for whatever it's worth, you can always talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, you may not be blood family, but Cassini kind of is family.
That's right back at you too.
Plus, someone who doesn't mind dealing out a bloody nose every once in a while.
I will drink to that. And he has another sip of the Rectigino pumpkin spice.
Yeah, says the guy with his frou-frou Ractigino.
Grass raises his Rectigino as cheers, and then pauses for a moment, not really sure why he just did that, but then just sort of takes a sip anyway.
Talis just kind of casually holds up her mug. Whatever, brother.
Alright. Well, this means it's time for the scene nobody is waiting for. Harrison, you get called to the airlock because the USS Enkidu has arrived, carrying your mother.
Great. I go meet her.
Alright, so you arrive at the airlock, and she kind of steps off. Hi, Logan.
Hi, Mother. Mom. Sorry.
It's fine. We haven't exactly had the best start to rekindling our relationship.
No. I'm sorry. There's just a lot of...
I know.
Anyway.
She goes ahead and kind of like awkwardly tries to give you a hug.
Pat.
Yeah. And as soon as you guys get out of the hug, the even more awkward thing happens as a sealed stasis unit is carried out by a couple of ensigns.
I'm gonna roll to see how I react.
See, that'd be a composer check, so I would say that'd be control command?
Okay. I'm gonna grab a die.
Okay.
Because, yeah.
Cautious command, you want it right now, right?
Yep. Alrighty. Mental discipline, I can pull on that?
Yeah, you can pull on the mental discipline. Yeah, you succeed, and you get 2 momentum out of it.
Yeah.
And you can just see her kind of, you see Komorova kind of rub her head and just go, I'm going to have her transferred to the Cassini. I figured you'd want Varos to handle any kind of confirming what I've told you.
Yes, actually, I already asked him to. Thank you for participating.
If you don't mind, I'd like to have Dr. O'Dane here on DS9 assist him. I figure you would want extra proof, since... And she just kind of points between the two of you.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Let's not do it tonight, though. Let's get through this hearing first. I know this is important to you, and that you don't need that distraction. And she starts walking, and she kind of gestures for you to follow along.
I take one last look at the Stacy's unit, then I follow.
As you two start walking, she goes, "Just to be clear, the recommendation didn't come from me."
We should probably avoid talking about this until we get to the actual hearing.
I'm not talking about things that can be input in the hearing. Do an insight command check with your intel operations focus.
Alrighty. Again, I'm gonna grab a die.
All right.
Let's see if I can max out. We'll need it for the hearing. I'm gonna reroll that one. 2.
That's fine. You get back the momentum anyways.
Okay.
You get the impression she's talking about that other group.
All right. What was it said last? Sorry, the cats are really distracting right now.
She said, "I wasn't the one who made the recommendation."
That's good to know.
It wasn't Drake either. Before you ask.
But he was the one there earlier.
Drake's a good operative. And she just kind of stops and turns to the side. This didn't come from Drake. This came above my head.
As we're speaking off the record here, if ARIEL is transferred off command, what's going to happen to her?
I've been on.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got. Well, I was being legit. I really would prefer if she had her own personal body, and most of the Admiralty agrees with that. There's all kinds of ethics issues going on, and I can't realistically think that. I mean, she just kind of rubs her head. Well, this is getting into stuff we'll have to discuss at the hearing.
There's some question of what ARIEL was built for. There's some worry that I worry what could happen to her without our supervision.
I get that. Unfortunately, I'm not entirely sure what she was built for. I was just told she was going to be a advanced user interface for intelligence operations.
So sorry, go ahead.
She goes, and she just kind of said, I wasn't expecting her to be this self-aware.
She's a life form, so.
She wasn't supposed to be, at least not from what I knew.
Do you think it's possible someone's just trying to clean house?
Yes. And that scares me. And she just kind of puts her hand on your shoulder. Logan, I know you're doing what's best. But I'm worried. And I'm not just worried for you, or for Catheris, or the Cassini crew. I am worried for ARIEL too.
Me as well.
Well, then let's get some good night's rest, and I'll see you on the floor tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. You have a good night.
You too. All right. Is there anything anyone wants to do before we begin the hearings?
Naturally, I relay this information to Catheris next time I see them before the hearing.
Yeah, I imagine this gets passed on to eventually all the senior staff members of the casino.
Have we told them of our Section 31 leanings yet? Or not leanings, but past?
Nope.
Yeah, so no, not all of them.
Well, I mean, you pass on the necessary information.
Oh yeah, the necessary information. But yeah, not. I do make it known that Linda is currently on the Cassini, because otherwise it's gonna get out anyway.
Yep, it's gonna go down that road.
Yeah, so I might as well just control the information while I can.
All right.
Have Sehen and I been capable of like anticipating how a transfer of ARIEL's photonic like self?
So, why don't we make this a scene over in the computer core?
Sure.
So you and Sehen are talking. It's about midnight, and he goes, "Look, let's just run the test one more time. Can I get you to, since you're the player character, you're going to make the roll here, and he will assist. This is going to be a reason engineering check.
Okay.
And yes, your focus in advanced AI applies.
All right. And what's my difficulty?
Difficulty on this is going to be 2.
Take a momentum.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a moment.
All right. Well, let's roll them dice.
Roll them, roll them, roll them, roll them, roll them.
Alright.
Oh!
Okay, hell yes. So you guys are maxed out on momentum. Here's what you know. You can get all of her personality subroutines into a mobile emitter when Cork finally gets around to providing you with one. But she's not going to be able to access a lot of her baseline functions as long as the core is offline. She's supposed to have a limited interlink with the ship when she's in a photonic form. That's not really going to be possible while the main core is offline.
All right. Will it impede her memory?
It will not impede her memory. It's just basically she's not going to have access to a lot of information. So, like, she's not going to be able to, like, pull up your guys' like, personal histories or anything. It's more akin to she will retain all of her personal memories that she's made since coming online on Nimbus. She will retain her personality, but there's not going to be, like, will not have unlimited access to the ship's library computer, etc., etc.
All right. Well, I mean, we wanted her to be able to represent herself. I think we managed to get at least a specimen.
It'll have to do. I just hope that, like, they don't start pulling on some legal trickery and start forcing her to call on things she can't remember in this state.
If they can, they're violating their own rules. The only reason we're doing this is because we can't turn her on. And if they expect her to know things without being fully active, that's their fault.
I don't know. I'm just... I guess it's a Romulan thing, always seeing the worst in people.
I don't think that's a Romulan thing.
Really? Because it's in this book, and he's holding up, like a pad that has, like, the history of the Romulan Star Empire on it.
Or maybe it's not just a Romulan thing.
Well, maybe.
I just wish we had a counselor or something here when we activated her. I don't know how she's going to react.
Maybe that could be used in our favor.
Something about that makes me not pleased, but...
Hey, we're gonna get through this. And he just kind of slaps you on the arm.
I haven't slept in 3 days.
Okay, go to bed. The hearing's at 10 a.m.
All right. Okay, I'm going.
Go, go! He like shoos you out of the computer core. All right. Time for the hearing.
I'm so
Yay!
excited.
So, Tanae is sitting at the head of the table. Well, it's not set up. It's the conference room, but it's not set up this way. It's like how it was in that DS9 episode where Worf is on trial. You got the desk where the judge is, and then you've got the chairs necessary for all the people who are gonna be there. And she taps the bell 3 times and goes, "This hearing is now in session. Captain Harrison?"
Present.
And she starts reciting off every person. So the entire Cassini crew is here, Reese is here, Komarova's here. Amazingly, even though Ted is present at the back of the room, he's not called out.
Makes sense.
He goes, "Mr. Thronic, I believe you are going to begin your opening statements." Yes, Admiral. This hearing is called to discuss the legal rights of the artificial intelligence known as ARIEL. Starfleet has requested that she be removed from the ship, the USS Cassini, citing ethical grounds regarding a sentient life form being installed on a warship. And he just leaves it at that and sits down. Captain Harrison, is there anything you wish to say before we continue?
Yes, actually.
Proceed.
Starfleet has come to the question of artificial intelligence numerous times in its history. In the beginning, it was often bigoted. There was Captain Archer, for example. Captain Kirk famously came across several supercomputers and destroyed them. We often tend to treat artificial intelligence lesser, not for any sort of malicious intent, but mostly because we fail to understand that Starfleet often has trouble with species that are not fit the humanoid designation, and that has unfortunately reared its head again here. But I would offer that as we have begun to see artificial intelligence as life forms in and of itself, we have to offer it the same respect and courtesy that we do anyone else, albeit in a modified form as fitting of their nature. And I would suggest that the hearing here is not fitting for the best intentions of Starfleet. Thank you.
Thronic stands up again. Admiral, speaking on behalf of Starfleet, I recognize the captain's statements here. There is no argument that in the past we have struggled with handling of AI rights, AI recognition of sapiens, recognizing them as even life forms. And there is no denying that in the past we have met hostile cybernetic and artificial intelligent creatures. And we have grown. There is numerous precedents set. The fact that Captain Data has served admirably in this organization for a half century speaks to that. That sapient beings such as the Doctor on USS Voyager shows how far we've come. We do not deny these facts. And we do not deny that this situation is far more complex. The fact is, you're right, Captain Harrison. Ariel does have rights, and she deserves to express them. But what rights? In what situation? And more importantly, we do not have a precedent set for a sapient computer. This is the difference. An android or a hologram can be made self-aware intentionally or unintentionally, but they have a level of independence that a computer core of a starship does not. In the aforementioned case, Maddox v. Data, it is mentioned that the Enterprise's computer could not refuse a refit. Are we going to grant that same option to ARIEL if the Cassini maybe requires a refit like it is undergoing right now? There are numerous issues. There are even ethical issues regarding the possession of the ship's weapons, the ship's propulsion system. You can argue, for instance, that a Cassian or a Klingon possesses lethal means in their biology, but they do not possess the ability innately to destroy an entire world. ARIEL, as a part of the Cassini, does. What we will be putting forth, Admiral, is that we believe that ARIEL has the right to choose, but that how they choose and what levels of it need to be defined better, and that maybe in the short term she should be moved into a new form, a new body, to be able to grow and develop and to have the autonomy she deserves. Thank you. Well, the Admiral sits up. Mr. Thronic, would you like to call anyone to stands? He goes, actually, I think the best way to start is with the Cassini crew, Your Honor. I am going to therefore call Commander Catheris to the stand. Well, Commander?
All right. I walk up. I do whatever kind of oath I.
Yeah, it's a pretty informal hearing. You guys aren't even. And so he just goes, Commander, could you describe some of the technical specifications of ARIEL?
ARIEL is an extremely advanced prototype. She is a artificial intelligence with a photonic facsimile. She has full but somewhat shackled access to most, if not all, of Cassini's systems.
You mentioned shackled access. She has some sort of constraints on what she can do to the ship.
When we first regained consciousness on Nimbus 3, she mentioned the presence of shackles.
Are these shackles, as you refer to them, still active?
The player can't remember.
Out of character, they're not.
As far as I'm aware, I believe that their presence may have been jolted during the attack on Nimbus 3.
So you're saying that he possesses these restraints, but they are no longer active.
We, during the time that we...
Yes or no, Commander?
They're not currently active.
So, therefore, you've had an artificial intelligence with no restrictions, access to the ship's propulsion systems, the ship's weapons systems, the ship's defensive system, life support.
Yes.
Commander, do you ever feel concerned that ARIEL may choose to take actions that you cannot predict? After all, an artificial intelligence mind is not the same as a humanoid's, correct?
That's true. However, I felt no threat from Ariel in my time since.
Is that based on your professional opinion or your personal opinion?
Both.
Thank you, Commander. I have no further questions. Captain Harrison, would you like to cross?
Yes, I would. Commander Catheris, could you describe your...
Oh no, you cut out.
Oh, sorry. Commander Catheris, could you describe your relationship with Ariel professionally and personally since your awakenings on Nimbus 3?
Professionally, Ariel is a member of the crew. She represents much of the computer functions on board the Cassini, and I expect her to follow the orders of the senior staff. Personally, I see her as a friend and a confidant.
When you awoke on Nimbus, is it correct that Ariel attempted to contact you despite having literally almost no knowledge, almost no knowledge of her circumstances or even who she was herself?
She attempted to contact all of us.
Has she attempted in any way to invoke hostile action or even disobey a command or request from any member of the crew?
Not to my knowledge.
Has she displayed any sort of hostile action? Any anger? Perhaps even annoyance?
No more than any other member of the crew.
And was she inducted as a Starfleet officer, pertaining to circumstances that happened soon after the Nimbus 3 incident, by our own Admiral here?
Yes.
That would imply a level of trust to be granted to Ariel herself, such as being granted access to the systems that she currently has, which would have earned via trust and cooperation, as with any other officer, correct?
Objection. The captain has led the question.
I retract my statement. To rephrase, do you trust Ariel to do her abilities as a Starfleet officer, which would be expected of her?
Yes.
And would you expect her to continue being to continue her duties in the same capacity, were she to be reshackled, or perhaps even removed from the core of the Cassini?
I would expect her to do as best as she could, given the new parameters.
All right. I have no further questions.
I'm sorry.
He just won't go away. I'm sorry.
Fuck, let's take like 5 minutes, please. I can't.
Yeah, I'll go put him in the room.
That's fine. Baz?
I muted my mic. Go.
All right. So Cathera steps off the stand, and Thronix stands up and goes, I am going to call Lieutenant Talis Theliksha to the stand.
Talis gets up from her seat and then she takes a seat on the stand.
Lieutenant, could you please describe Ariel's functions with regards to the ship's tactical systems?
Ariel is fully integrated with the ship's defensive and offensive capabilities, and Also with the ship's cyber warfare capabilities.
It must be very useful with that cyber warfare suite.
Incredibly. More so than any other ship.
So, when she's fully integrated, she has full control of all of these systems.
Yes, she has control, and she had control, excuse me. When she has full control, it's definitely a boon. Because I like to think I'm pretty good, but working together with the artificial intelligence, it's a synergy that I don't think can be matched.
So she is fully capable of firing the ship's phasers, photon torpedoes, quantum torpedoes.
By herself, yes.
Lieutenant, does that ever concern you as a potential security risk?
It used to, but I've come to appreciate her capabilities, and I've come to trust her to know when that is appropriate and when it's not. And I mean, like, I would trust any of the other people who are trained on the tactical station not to just fire off the ship's weapons whenever they feel like it.
Thank you, Lieutenant. I have no further questions.
Of course.
Captain Harrison?
I have no questions at this time.
You may step down, Lieutenant.
Talus just nods, and she gets up from the stand. Goes back to her seat.
I am now going to call a member of Starfleet Intelligence, Mr. Franklin Drake. Drake walks up and takes a seat next to the table.
He would be in his proper Starfleet uniform, not the Section 31 uniform.
Correct, but I am out of asset space.
I'd just like to point that out for the viewers.
I was going to. So he's in Starfleet uniform, not Section 31 uniform. And Thronic kind of reluctantly walks up to him. Captain Drake, could you please describe an incident detailing, he mentioned the star date, you guys were at Starbase 39, where you apparently had an altercation with ARIEL. Yes. As a member of Starfleet Intelligence, I had reason to believe that this artificial intelligence was potentially a threat to Starbase, and for reasons that I cannot disclose in this hearing, took necessary steps to remove the threat. Can you provide any further information? I'm afraid not, Lieutenant. I can say that I was prevented to do so by Captain Harrison and Lieutenant Commander Kagon and the rest of the USS Cassini crew. Mr. Drake, do you have an issue with artificial intelligences? I don't have an issue with them per se, but I do feel uncomfortable with the idea of ARIEL. The idea of an intelligence that takes control away from a ship's crew is disturbing to me. I see. Do you then believe that ARIEL is not a useful member of Starfleet? I think it could be useful, but I seriously do not approve of an unshackled AI on board a Federation starship. You guys also see Komorova just kind of like holding her head like, oh, come the fuck on, Drake. I see. Is there anything you would wish to add, Captain? I just want to state for the record that everything that I am saying here is on behalf of Starfleet and do not necessarily reflect my personal opinions, besides the question you just asked, Lieutenant. Understood. I have no further questions. Tanae just looks right at Harrison and goes, "Would you like to?"
Please. Harrison stands up. Captain Drake,
Captain Harrison?
have you had an opportunity to interact with ARIEL since since the initial incident?
I have not.
All right. Have you had any interaction with other artificial beings?
I've had interactions with both Captain Data and the Doctor, along with several other photonic life forms in my time.
All right. How would you characterize them?
I would characterize them as very competent individuals.
All right. Personality-wise?
I would say that they had varying personalities like any other life form.
Yeah. All right. Going back to a comment you made earlier today, you mentioned that you were disturbed by the possibility of ARIEL having more control over the ship than that of the crew, correct?
That would be correct. I think it would be unwise to allow anyone to have that level of control over a starship.
Do you feel all relationships in such an antagonistic manner?
No, I do not.
Okay, so it's just limited to artificial intelligence then.
This is a distraction. I do not have an irritation with artificial intelligences. I merely have an irritation with the fact that an artificial intelligence has complete control over a Federation starship.
What I'm trying to explain here that the situation with ARIEL, Cassini, and her crew is not one that is typical for Starfleet, naturally.
That would be a significant understatement.
But perhaps it's not outside the course of Starfleet, if I may suggest.
You may suggest as such, but I fail to see where you are going with this.
I believe part of our mandate was to explore strange new worlds, seek out new people, new possibilities.
That is our mandate.
Would not seeing this grand experiment with ARIEL, Cassini, and her crew be a worthwhile endeavor?
It has the potential to be. It also has potential to be a great disaster as well.
When has that ever stopped us?
It hasn't, despite many people's objections. However, it is part of my job as an intelligence officer to take and analyze risks. Risks may be our business, but that doesn't mean we can't take calculated ones instead of uncalculated ones.
Sorry, just collecting my thoughts here for a second. Captain Drake, in your opinion, what would satisfy you what were the conditions that would satisfy you to have ARIEL remain on board the Cassini?
Well, whatever restraints she had in place should be restored, in my opinion. At the very least, do control of impulse, life support, defensive systems should be completely excised. Barring her wonderful electronic countermeasure suite, of course.
Is that it?
I would feel that would be sufficient. I frankly would not like to have even a remote chance if something should happen to Ariel. She decides to say, vent the entire ship's atmosphere.
Isn't that a risk we place in the hands of anyone with authority?
It is. There is a difference, however. For instance, you, Captain, you have served Starfleet openly for years. We only became aware of Ariel's existence as Starfleet a couple of months ago.
If I may counter that, my existence with Starfleet was only been for about 6 months, from my perspective. And I also wasn't given a choice to serve with this body.
2 months, not 6.
Okay, 2 months. Yeah.
But that is also a unique situation. You are an individual who's had their mind wiped, and you have retained, as far as I am aware, the skill set of a Federation Starfleet captain.
A description that almost describes Ariel exactly as well, barring her rank.
Hello.
Kagan?
Well,
You might want to drop in or out, yeah. Don. Sounds having out of your trouble.
oh no.
Anyway, continue.
Well, I would argue that the difference is again, you have been a member of Starfleet. You have openly served. We were aware of your existence. We have only been aware of Ariel for a couple of months, and presumably she didn't exist before the Cassini was created. Which means, well, she couldn't have been here more than a year. There's also the fact that we still have no idea of how she come on board the ship. Do an insight security roll on that one.
Yeah, sure. Grabbing a die.
Yeah, this is going to be pretty.
Oh, inside
4.
security?
Insight security.
Bold.
Yeah. Oh, you're taking it with threat then. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to intelligence operations, but I am going to go ahead and spend 3 threat to increase your complication range by 3.
Okay. All right. Let's do this.
Hot damn, you did it. Oh, wait. Yes. Wait, it was 4. No, you don't quite
I'm
make
gonna
it.
re-roll that one.
Yeah, you gotta roll that one. Maybe you do it.
Oh,
Shit. Holy shit. So you got 1 extra floating momentum from that.
Okay.
You know that he's fucking lying. He knows
Yep.
exactly how Ariel came on board. And he's putting on one hell of a good show.
Yeah, I can't call him on it right now. Damn it.
I know. I was like, you know, but you can't say anything.
Yep.
gain information.
Yeah.
Yep. Can't obtain that information.
They can spend the free momentum to obtain.
Yeah. What information would you like to know that's not related to
What is his end reason? What is his end goal for the hearing?
You get the feeling he just wants Ariel off the ship. And he is being genuinely honest when he says he's not very comfortable with the idea of an AI being able to assert control from people.
All right. Ah, damn it! Every time we do one of these rolls, I lose track of what the conversation was.
All right, it's fine. You were just talking about whether or not Ariel was how he felt about Ariel, basically.
All right.
And how she got onto the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any further questions, Captain?
Just only to say that we're once again trying to place the same expectations on Ariel that we would place onto a humanoid member of Starfleet or the Federation, and I do feel that is a little unfair and perhaps a little bigoted.
Stoneface, because you got a Vulcan and Drake up here.
No, that's fine.
Yep.
No further questions at this time.
You may sit down, Captain. And Drake walks away and sits down. Thronic calls both Sahan and Ryuk up separately. They both give a lot of technical information about ARIEL. It's mostly technical. Believe it or not, Ryuk gives a really impassioned speech about how ARIEL has helped him learn a couple of new languages when you cross him. Sahan talks about how she's been invaluable to helping restore control of the ship in crises, and they just speak with absolute adoration for her. Thronic then decides to call to the stand. Not Safan, Kagon!
Kagon just walks up to the stand, glowering.
Commander, could you please describe your interactions with this artificial intelligence ARIEL? I actually need to swap out his model here. Go ahead and keep talking, Don.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna Kagan. I'm gonna have him recall most of his interactions with ARIEL, but maybe starting with the fact that from the very beginning, ARIEL has acted in a way that is honorable, is trustworthy, and to have her personhood on trial in this manner is a sham.
He actually objects when you start saying that it's a sham. Objection. Your personal feelings about this hearing have little to do with the actual hearing themselves, Commander. Though I do appreciate your enthusiasm. Sustained. Commander Kagon, you speak about honor, very important in Klingon culture. And I would like to ask your opinion. Do you believe an artificial intelligence is capable of having the same honor values as us?
That would depend on whether you believe Starfleet places any import on the value of honor. After all, ARIEL was designed and programmed to hold to Starfleet values.
So you're saying that ARIEL's values and honor would be dependent upon our own.
Is a child not a reflection of their parent?
Reese just kind of smiles and nods and goes, I suppose they are, Commander. I have no further questions.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Really good, Don.
Yeah.
Captain Harrison?
Yes, actually. Quick question. Does Dr. Faresk have any psychological training?
He does not, but he is on the list of witnesses.
Yeah, I'm gonna call it Dr. Faresk.
You're not gonna cross Kagon?
No, like I said, I have no further questions. That was a really good
Okay.
statement.
Right.
Sorry,
Okay.
Jan.
No, that's all good.
All right. Well, yep, it is time for Dr. Vrest to get called up.
Varask will head up there and he will take a seat in front of everyone.
All right. Thronic walks up and goes, Dr. Verask, you have worked with many life forms.
That is correct.
What would you say are common biological imperatives between them? Both synthetic and natural.
Man, I object with the use of the word biological with regards to synthetic life forms.
I retract my question. Between life forms that are created through non-artificial, who are not artificial intelligences, versus those who are. And by the way, look, Adcon, I'm taking a threat for that because that was, and because you flustered him.
Just so I can understand this, is he asking what are key components for the differences between synthetic and biological life forms?
Correct. So, like a common motivation and so forth. He is going for a bit of a psychology question here, but he's doing it in a phrase of like, what instincts, what motivations would they naturally both possess?
Well, in most cases, there would be a need to survive, to satiate certain needs, hunger, companionship, surrounding oneself with those that you find trustworthy, those that are considered either family or friend if you are getting into higher based life forms.
Fascinating. Do you believe that ARIEL is capable of any of these behaviors?
I do believe she is capable of these behaviors.
Have you witnessed any?
I have witnessed her need for taking time to speak with the crew when she hasn't had to. I have seen her express out of character. Was she there for the Captain? Was Verask there for the Captain Proton thing?
He wasn't.
Would he know anything about that?
He wouldn't know about that.
Okay.
Yeah, he is aware of the thing with Drake though, and ARIEL objecting strenuously to it and alerting everyone to Drake's presence.
There's also the fact that she herself has shown us a will to survive, to live. When Mr. Drake had boarded our ship and was trying to, as he put it, take care of the problem.
So you believe that was a self-preservation instinct?
Yes. If you... Oh, wait, never mind. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you have anything you wish to add?
If you witness someone trying to end your life, would you not call out for help?
This is definitely a fair point, but I'm afraid I'm not the one taking questions here, Doctor. But point taken. I have no further questions.
If I stand, then I would like to cross-examine.
You may, Captain.
Dr. Verask, as it stands, you are not currently a member of Starfleet, correct?
That is correct.
So in a sense, you might have an outsider's perspective.
It could be put that way, yes.
How would you characterize ARIEL's interactions with the crew and how the crew has responded in kind specifically in regards to any sort of efficiency or lack of. Has the interactions with the crew in Ariel benefited the crew, or has it worsened?
Ariel's interactions with the crew, from everything that I do know, have been quite well handled. There's been a rise in the efficiency of our ship, allowing her to be there and allowing for
So you've mentioned before that you've mentioned that you've seen a rise in efficiency among the crew with and that you think that has a correlation with their interactions with Ariel.
I do.
All right. And you feel as if Ariel was shackled and being allowed less permissions than she has now, would you feel that efficiency would decrease?
I do.
All right. What's a different topic? Are we all in agreement that we see Ariel as a life form?
Yes.
All right. And we've mentioned before that perhaps we've seen the Cassini as her body, as an extension of herself?
Yes.
Dr. Farask, say I was going to perform a procedure on you. It would be painless. It would be theoretically non-intrusive, but say I was to remove the sight from one of your eyes. You would not be given I would not seek your permission, and I would not even consult with you on this. Theoretically, you'll be able to perform the task that you need to. But how would you feel about this procedure?
I would be vehemently against this procedure.
Yes. And perhaps if I were to sever the nerve endings in your wrists so you would not be able to operate your left hand. You would still be able to perform most of the tasks that you're capable of. How would you feel about that?
Just as adversely.
Could not that be construed as disrespecting a life form and their autonomy?
Yes.
And naturally, you would be granted the right to object to this procedure as a citizen of the Federation.
Yes.
And as a life form in general, per the mandate of the Federation and Starfleet.
I would.
Do you feel that Ariel has been given the same rights?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
Reese stands up and goes, I would like to re-examine the witness, if you do not mind. The Admiral nods. And he walks over to Farask. Dr. Farask, you have compared the Cassini's body as Ariel's body, correct?
Yes.
And the captain so brilliantly pointed out that if you were removed from vital senses against your will, this would be an unwanted desire for any life form, correct?
Yes.
What if, to put this in another scenario, what if when you had woken up on Nimbus, knowing you were a member of Starfleet, you had decided you no longer wanted to be a part of it, theoretically speaking? You could choose to walk away, yes?
If I so chose, yes.
Tell me, if Ariel walks away from Starfleet, as is her right, as a life form, what does that do to the Cassini?
In this case, I believe the Cassini would go with her.
So you believe the Starship would have the right to leave the Federation and Starfleet?
Yes.
Well, Doctor, no offense, but the Cassini is Starfleet property. For that matter, does that then persuade that ARIEL in this state may not have ownership of her own body?
When put that way, yes.
So the Cassini is Starfleet's property, but it's also her body. Your Honor, I can't help but feel like we are in some sort of slavery against an artificial life form. Dr. Vrosk, would you agree that that is a potential interpretation of these events?
Potentially. Possibly.
I have no further questions. You may stand down, Dr. Vrask. It is at this moment, they don't call Graz to the stand. Actually, you know what? Yes, they do. Thronic is going to call Lieutenant Graz to the stand. There's something he wants to bring up.
So Graz takes a bit of a deep breath, calmly, directly goes to sit down, takes a seat, sort of stares down Thronic, but just otherwise just waits.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to have you do an intimidation check on that one. Can I get you to make a daring plus security roll on that?
Okay.
Take a momentum.
Actually, wait, it'd be present security, sorry.
Take 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna... You know what, I will take 3.
Alright. 2 extra dies!
I don't think the war/Iconian war veteran will...
No.
No. Okay.
What other focuses do you have that could apply here?
It's all piloting stuff, so...
Okay.
Close quarters combat...
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. No. Roll it. This is opposed.
Hang on. Just trying to think. No, I don't think I could do a value.
Okay. Just to be clear, Reese has a bold command as the opposed opposition.
What?
What?
I don't. Oh, hang on. I pushed the complication range instead of the.
Oh, well, roll 3 other dice because you're keeping complication. Okay.
Can I?
No, just keep the complication.
Yeah.
What?
I was thinking about using a value, but I can't think of a value that. I can't see a value that works. So.
Okay, so you would have succeeded on this because it's usually a push, but the complication, you just stare at him and then he stares right back at you. But because Reese is from a military family, you're more scared of him than he is of you, and you just kind of and rapidly change your face in a contorted manner that's like suddenly seeing a Tellarite place like.
I just silently mutter under my breath.
Reese Stoneface just goes, Lieutenant, you are the pilot for the USS Cassini, correct?
Correct.
Tell me, has ARIEL ever seen a need to take control of the ship's con systems?
No, she hasn't. We have actually discussed that just waking up prior to Nimbus 3. Just after Nimbus 3. Sorry, she has expressed no desire to do so and has not attempted.
That's interesting. So she has openly come to you saying, I do not want to do this. Tell me, do you think that in a crisis she would do it if she was forced to?
If the situation warranted it, she could. As part of that conversation, she expressed that she felt that my particular skills were better in this role. So while at least I was at the helm, then if there was no better option, then there would not be any need for ARIEL to intercede.
Tell me, Lieutenant, do you believe that it is possible that you could teach her to fly the ship?
Possible, given the situation, perhaps with enough time, and if I worked with her and gave her enough, got into, really understood how she saw the ship and how she interacted with the ship, then possibly.
So, with these comparisons made about the ship being her body, would you say that she is someone who has chosen not to walk? As an analogy, Lieutenant.
Well, I would say that there are options available to her that she has she has declined, as it's more of a symbiotic relationship for the crew to fill some roles that she could have done.
Well, to continue this body analogy, if you wouldn't mind the indulgence, when you're piloting her, you are in essence taking control of her body, directing her where to go, correct?
If you were to follow that analogy, yes.
So you could arguably say that the helm position is a literal example of you usurping control from ARIEL. And when Starfleet sends her to explore strange new worlds and new civilizations, we are sending her there against her will.
There has been no expression that we are doing anything against her will. The ARIEL...
That is not my question, Lieutenant. Would you say that analogy is accurate?
Well, the question that you are raising assumes that she doesn't want to, when we have already discussed that she is completely fine. She is, let's say, we have come to an agreement with ARIEL in terms of how the ship should operate.
What if the day comes that you are required to go somewhere that is highly dangerous and she does not wish to go there? Say, a close range scan of a hypermass, for instance. If there is a situation where she says she does not consent with going, and you remain in control, would you then be violating that right of consent? Theoretically speaking.
Theoretically speaking, I do not believe that is particularly part of this particular trial. We are deciding whether or not ARIEL should be immediately removed now from the Cassini without her knowledge or consent. And if her consent, in that case, then that would have to be determined
I'd
by
also like to raise
someone
an
more
objection to this
skilled
line of
than
questioning.
The Admiral speaks and goes, "What is your objection?"
This is ignoring the fact that the ARIEL is an inducted Starfleet officer, and thus maybe asked in order to place herself in perilous situations that she may or may not agree with at times. She has already agreed to this, and thus has already given consent.
Reese stands up and goes, "Your Honor, I am going somewhere with this, if you would allow me to continue." And she goes, "For the moment, the objection is overruled, but Lieutenant Thronick, you are on thin ice." "I understand, ma'am." The point I have been trying to raise, both with Dr. Vorosk and with the Lieutenant, is that ARIEL technically does not have the authority to be in control of her own body. The captain mentions that she is a Starfleet officer, but she is a Starfleet officer. If she resigns, she cannot take her body with her. The Lieutenant has stated that if there was a situation where she had to, she could take control, but she chooses not to. But if the day comes that she does not wish to, is a possibility that must be addressed. The doctor and I had a discussion that pointed out that if we went by the letter of the law, technically this makes ARIEL a slave. The ethical implications here about her body are the issue that is central to this case. The fact is, as long as she remains in total control of the Cassini, there's going to be a question of where the Cassini ends and where ARIEL begins. And the question then raises is, do the weapon systems belong to ARIEL? Does the warp drive? Do we allow an individual to own weapons that could annihilate a planet? What is the correct course of action here? What is the ethically right thing to do?
At least for the moment, Lieutenant, I would say that the ethical course of action is to ask ARIEL, but as we have been given the orders not to activate her, and have therefore been given no opportunity for her to provide her own witness and provide her own testimony on her behalf, that this is something that cannot be properly, thoroughly hashed out regarding what ARIEL may or may not do or may not desire.
A valid point, Lieutenant. However, I would then make a point that the reason that Starfleet made these decisions was specifically so that if she gave her consent, that arrangements could be made. If she wished to return to the Cassini, maybe that could have been arranged with more restrictions, with more ability for her to make autonomous decisions for herself. But as long as she is fully integrated, we can't ask these questions, nor can we come to an ethical agreement that isn't murky to a degree. As the comparison was made, would you want to have your arm cut off, even if it was done painlessly? The answer is no. But if your arm was a 30 gigaton nuclear weapon, and it had to be removed because we didn't know if we could trust you with it, is that a power we want to give to someone? I don't deny that the position I'm sitting in has been difficult. But the question must be asked anyway. And thank you, Lieutenant. I have no further questions. And he does actually come up and shake your hand, Grass. And actually gives you a smile. Now I'm going to give you a momentum for that, man.
Whew, that was intense.
That was intense. Captain Harrison, would you like to cross-examine?
No, I have no further questions at this time.
You stand down, Lieutenant. Mr. Thronic, is there anyone else you wish to call to the stand? At this time, I do not, Admiral. He sits down. Captain Harrison, I believe it is your turn to call a witness.
Yes, I do believe I do have someone. And with Commander Catheris' assistance, I believe we can make this possible. I would like to call Ariel herself to the stand.
The Admiral raises an eyebrow. Fascinating. How do you plan to accomplish this without activating her unit?
I will let my commander and my lieutenant commander explain.
Step forward, please. So, this would be
Catheris and Kagan.
Catheris and Kagan. Yep. Please explain.
I just hold up the hollow emitter.
You don't have it yet.
Yeah, we don't have it yet.
What? Oh, we don't have it yet.
You could have spent 2 momentum to create the advantage that you went for and got it.
That's expecting Quark to give it up early.
I mean, this is the day of.
Yeah, it's the day of, but also moment with Quark. But I will allow you to make that momentum spend if you wish.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So Kagan holds up the hollow emitter, which does not have her Actually, no, it does have her hologram in it. You'd make that as part of the advantage.
We managed to very delicately and without disruption or awakening isolate Ariel's personality and limited memory into her photonic self, and with permission would activate her.
Fascinating. Lieutenant Thronic, do you see any objections to calling this witness to the stand? And Reese just shakes his head. I do not, ma'am. You may proceed.
We do the thing.
All right, you activate the holometer and Ariel's holographic form appears. You get those. Where am I?
You're on board Deep Space Nine, Ariel.
How do you feel?
I do not have contact with my central core. I feel lessened.
I know. Starfleet has ordered us not to activate your central core. We are in a hearing to determine whether you are worthy of the same rights afforded to other members of Starfleet. We brought as much of you as we could.
Thank you, Commander.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. You're following orders. Admiral, I assume I am required to take the stand? Yes, Ariel. Thank you. And she takes a seat in the chair. Captain?
Ariel?
Captain?
Given the current situation, first I would like to apologize for forcing you to appear before us in the swarm. I know it causes you discomfort.
It is understandable, Captain, and I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Ariel, since your awakening on Nimbus 3, can you describe how your interaction with the crew has been?
It has been productive and most efficient. I find the crew to be not only upstanding moral people, but I find them also to be my friends.
That's good. That's good. Much of the hearing has been put forth because of where you're currently located. You're aware of both the parameters and the technical capabilities of the USS Cassini.
Correct.
You've mentioned once to me that you consider the Cassini your body.
It is difficult to describe. The analogy is apt. My photonic core, in much way, is like your humanoid brain. It is a control center for the other things I can manipulate, which in this case would be the systems aboard the USS Cassini.
How much of a direct connection would you feel that you have? Much of the issue was put forth that you have direct access to many intensive systems within the Cassini, such as life support, weaponry, defensive measures, etc.
I would argue that those analogies are apt and more. I have total control of the vessel should I desire it.
And much was also put forth that, as it stands, the Cassini is both your body and Starfleet property. As a hypothetical, what would be the best course of action were you to decide to no longer serve as a member of Starfleet?
Ariel pauses to think of it, takes her holographic form, puts the chin, her hand to her chin, obviously a pre-programmed sociological measure, and ponders that. I can understand the sudden concern from Starfleet as to why. The ship is obviously Starfleet property, and I am not. I would believe that if the situation ever arose that I would have to resign, I may have to forfeit the Cassini. I accept this as a logical outcome of the situation.
But you would feel lessened, naturally.
I would feel lessened, yes. But I also wonder if that would be the way anyone would feel who loses the privileges of their rank. After all, would you not be lessened if you retired to no longer be able to openly carry a phaser, to no longer be able to roam the stars and make new discoveries?
Perhaps, but my rank isn't tied into my senses. I don't need these pips on my collar to smell, to hear, to see. But your status, to an extent, does carry these restrictions.
One advantage I do have over an organic life form such as yourself is that I could acquire new senses. I suppose that it would be possible that I could be removed from the Cassini and placed into another receptacle of sorts and experience new sensations. This is not an unappealing option to me, Captain.
Understand. And also another suggestion was put forth that restrictions to parts of the Cassini be put in place so as to not allow any untoward behavior accidentally or intentionally for whatever reason, such as restricting your access to weapons, to shields, to life support.
Ariel ponders that for a moment and goes, these are reasonable precautions. I can understand why any member of Starfleet might have restrictions placed upon them. I believe that if we could come to some sort of mutually beneficial agreement with Starfleet, I would be willing to accept these restrictions as long as I was allowed to make input onto how and when I was allowed access to those systems.
That's understandable. An open dialogue is always the best solution.
I concur.
Ariel, since you've awakened with the rest of the crew, do you have an opinion on Starfleet and the Federation?
I would say that my relationship with Starfleet has been complicated, Captain. My opinion of the organization is that it is an overall beneficial organization that has done much good for the galaxy at large. I, unfortunately, cannot make as full of a response as I normally would have with the access to the Cassini's data banks and so forth. But most members of Starfleet I have interacted with, whether they were crew members, members of Starbase 39 Sierra, or other ships we have interacted with, have been positive. the few that have not have been obviously non-standard situations. And I admit that that may have something to do with my presence as is. I am ultimately a new form of life.
And it is Starfleet's mandate to explore and converse with and seek out new forms of life.
Well, Captain, as the saying goes, you're only human.
Thank you. I have no further questions at this time.
Mr. Thronek? Reese stands up and he walks over and goes, Ariel, you said you'd be open to a dialogue. Yes. Do you wish to leave the Cassini? At this time, I do not. Do you have any plans to leave Starfleet? Presently, I do not, but there may come a day that I wish to seek out a new existence. After all, I believe it is one of the pinnacle values of the Federation that we seek to improve ourselves, and I believe there may be room for improvement in other avenues for me. I get that. And if that day should come, you wouldn't object to us removing you from the Cassini. No, I believe I can understand that your concern. Military hardware, I believe that might be an inaccurate term. I know the Federation values itself as an exploratory organization. But government hardware may have difficulty being removed from that authority. That being said, I am, after all, software. Software can be placed elsewhere. I can have an existence somewhere else as something else. I have an opportunity that other life forms cannot. And there may come a day that I wish to experience that. But for the moment, I wish to be a Starfleet officer and to serve as I have. Reese just goes, I have no further questions. And he reaches out his hand and goes, thank you. They shake.
I smile at Ariel.
She smiles. She's actually smiling at Reese at this moment, and then she makes sure to turn and smile at you as well. Ariel, you may step down. And she steps down and walks over to a chair next to the commander and sits down. Captain, Lieutenant, I believe it is time for your final statements. Captain Harrison, would you like to begin?
I would like to think that we've made some good progress with this hearing today. While it may have required a workaround that, based on prerequisites that were ultimately, I believe, not in the best favor, Ariel getting to voice her own opinion was the most important part of this hearing here, and I believe that has been done. I understand there are some legitimate concerns here, but I believe we're starting to come to something akin to a compromise, and I believe that's progress. Ultimately, I do feel that we're starting to see that Ariel deserves recognition for what she is. That's all I have to say on the subject right now.
Thank you, Captain. Mr. Thronek? Admiral, we've been dancing around the issue.
Sorry.
Where does the Cassini end and where does Ariel begin? And I think we have not had any greater example than that than from her own mouth. The only reason I am not officially rejecting our plea at this point is because I want this on the record. I think Ariel has the right to choose. But I think we have to balance that right to choose versus the restrictions that we all take as Starfleet officers and our positions as Starfleet officers, and to make that deciding line. I trust ARIEL, and I hope that you'll make the right decision, Admiral. And he sits down. My belief that there is very obviously a consensus being made in this room with almost everyone. And she looks at Drake, who is very sourpuss face. As such, I have decided, given the situations, ARIEL may continue to serve on the Cassini in her present capacity, following a discussion with Starfleet engineers and command, discussing limitations on her access to the ship, and an agreement that if she should resign, that she shall be moved to a facility where she may be given a new body built to her specifications or her request. Hearing adjourned.
Sigh of relief.
I'm gonna hug Ariel.
There is a lizard man jumping behind you and hugging you both.
Wait, Ted's doing that?
No.
That's the frog.
Amphibian, my apologies.
And hugs ARIEL as well. There's just a hug pile going on.
Group hug!
The Admiral Tanay just nods and walks out. Reese walks over to you, Captain, and goes, "Nicely done."
Likewise,
hard
Lieutenant. No, it's understandable.
Hey, got a good one there.
Yes.
And he just smiles and walks off.
Hmm.
And then Komorova walks over to you. Well, you're definitely proving to be a model starship captain.
It's more difficult than it looks.
Oh, ain't it? I like her, by the way. ARIEL, I mean.
Me too. She's a
Take
good
it.
kid.
Take good care of her.
Mm-hmm. And if I could ask something.
Shoot.
You're going to be looking into why this happened, I assume.
Yeah, I don't have any real clue.
Well, when you do find something, could you keep me in the loop?
I'll see what I can do.
Thank you.
However, now's the point where I have to deflate your high.
I'm listening.
And he goes, "You need to go to your sick bay."
I'll go there in a moment.
Okay. I'll be there with Dr. O'Dane. And she walks out.
I am going to look to Catheris and kind of put a hand on their shoulder and kind of lean in. When you get a chance, talk to ARIEL privately about why this hearing occurred. I feel a reason.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to know. And I'm going to go to sickbay.
You bringing anyone with you?
Actually, I mean, obviously the doctor's going to be there. Actually, if Catheris is open to it, I would like to bring them.
I'm gonna stay if that's cool.
That's fine.
All right, so Dr. Verosk and Captain Harrison, you guys enter the sick bay on board the Cassini. and you see Komorova and Dr. Odane standing over an open stasis chamber. And looking inside, you see, for the first time in person, your wife.
Was there anything new found?
I'm sorry, you cut out, man.
Sorry. Was there anything new found?
She, Komorova, points to a container that looks like it's holding a bunch of, looks like biological stuff. Dr. Verosk, would you make a reason science roll, of which Dr. Odane will assist you?
Sure. Let me open my character.
Actually, reason medicine, not reason science.
Would any of my focuses apply?
Yes. This is a medical thing.
Okay.
Difficulty is going to be 2.
Okay. I'm just looking at my talents to see if there's anything that would help.
Momentum would help.
Yeah, you got it. You might as well spend it.
Yeah, I'll grab a momentum.
Okay. Actually, you have a quick study would apply. So this is going to be difficulty 1 instead.
Okay, cool.
Because this is unfamiliar to the Farron medical. So go ahead and roll. All right, so that's 3 extra momentum you're going to get from that.
Nice.
What it is, and this is the part that catches you off guard. It is something that's used when it is basically biological filler material that's used when someone is pregnant and has been incapacitated or killed on a mission, and they're trying to disguise a birth. It's basically there to make the body look pregnant without harming the body.
I will share this with everyone.
Komorova is just like tranquil fury.
Stone face. The stoniest of faces.
Can I get you to do a controlled command roll on that one?
No problem.
How high would you say the difficulty should probably be for this?
3
say
or
about
4.
3. Yeah. Grabbing a die.
All right, grab that die.
Can I use mental discipline?
Yes.
Okay. Knock my complication rage back down. Alrighty. Fuck, hang on. Reroll. I'm
Still
gonna
not-
use my determination.
Which one?
I am not my past.
Oh, that's dark.
That's dark, but that's not applicable here.
Alrighty. I'll make a deal with the devil if they come to light.
No.
Trust but verify.
This is trusting and verifying, but no.
Damn it. The last one is applicable.
You got nothing. You got nothing, man.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah. Harrison, you just start kind of like... Describe your emotional breakdown, please.
Well, Harrison's always been this kind of sort, so he looks to Linda, looks back to Komorova. He walks over to this nice little window here,
Mm-hmm.
right next to the doctor's office,
Yeah.
and just smashes his fist against it, probably cracking it.
Can I get you to do a daring security roll then, please?
No problem.
Difficulty 1.
Okay. And I imagine I have
Yes.
a focus. I'm not going to use my special ability.
Are you going to use it or not?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Otherwise,
you,
I'd break
you
the
don't get a
glass.
choice in that. You don't get a choice in that.
Oh, all right. Hang on. Let's see. What was it? Complication range up by 2?
Yeah, I'll spend the threat for it.
No,
If you
I mean
want.
that's part of the thing. I don't get a choice. Complication range is increased by 2 for anything that uses the daring.
Right, that's correct. Do it.
All right.
Well, shit. So, you punch it, and the complication is you do shatter it.
You didn't need this window, right?
Whoopsie doodle.
I suppose it's a good thing you're undergoing a refit.
Yeah,
Are
that
you-
glass
are
was
you-
clearly not up to standard.
Are you bleeding, Captain?
I'm probably bleeding.
He's bleeding, got chunks of transparent aluminum in his hand.
Yeah. Yeah, this transparent aluminum was clearly not up to standard.
Komorova just rolls her eyes, by the way, at that.
Then, if you won't mind, sit on a bed and don't move.
Yes, doctor.
All right, you treat it's difficulty 0. I'm not going to make you roll for it. Komorova is exhausted and goes, "This meant the baby was taken before it was due."
I've gathered.
I'm so sorry, Logan. I failed you.
Can I? Is there any way to determine how the baby was removed?
Yeah, I'm not going to make you a roll for that. There's actually records from Starfleet Medical. This is done basically by transporter replacement. So if you've seen the episode Deadlock on Voyager, you can perform instead of a cesarean section, you can transport a baby out. It's not recommended because the baby has to go through pressure therapy, otherwise its flesh will melt after a period of time. Yeah.
I remember.
So basically, they do that at the same time and they place this in.
What the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything I can tell from these samples about? I'm assuming that they're man-made.
Yeah, you can replicate them literally inside the Cassini sickbay if you wanted to.
Okay. Is there any kind of way to tell if there is a signature on where they were made?
I'm gonna have you do a reason medical on that. This is gonna be a difficulty 4 because this would require very specific information.
This is where you spend the value before you roll.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my value. Stand by your friends.
I'll allow it.
Okay. I'm assuming xenobiology or medical training would come.
Medical training.
Okay. Reason, science.
And then you got momentum.
Take a memento.
Yeah.
Take
I
all
will
the momentum. This is probably the last roll of the night.
Okay, I will take all 3 momentum for 2 extra dice.
All right, roll it. Ooh, okay. Well, you got more than enough successes.
Hey, his 2 extra successes can buy off that conflict.
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can reroll it.
But you're not going to need it. So just buy it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was replicated in a Federation facility of some sort. It's very faint, but the replication patterns point to something that a biosynthetic organ that was a Federation make.
Captain, Admiral, it's the faintest that I can make it out, but these were replicated in a Federation facility.
Komorova just balls her fists.
If I could ask Dr. Ordain to please give us a room.
Of course, Captain.
Thank you.
And she leaves.
I feel it may be time for us to start discussing openly something.
Well,
For instance, how a human shouldn't be able to shatter a plate of transparent aluminum.
yes, you're augmented.
I noticed.
I'm assuming the doctor knows.
I am his doctor.
Yeah, but most people wouldn't have found it.
It's a very good doctor.
I'm not most people.
Logan, if you want to talk about this, it's going to be between you and me, and it's going to be at another time and place.
Is it a possibility that my son was taken because of his heritage?
It's possible, and I intend to find out, and heads are going to roll if that is the case. And that's not a metaphor.
No. No, it's not. I want to know who.
So do I.
I want to know when. And I want to be included when you find them.
I will let you know. And Doctor, you take good care of him.
I will do my best, but if he keeps going around punching consoles and windows, I might have to sedate.
You never used to be like this. All right. Now the hard question. What do you want to do about her, Logan?
Did Linda have a will?
If she did, it was lost with the Pioneer.
And essentially she's on life support right now.
She's brain dead, Logan.
I'm going to have to think about it. Dramatic enough as it is.
All right. I have to go. I need to handle something, and I just want you to know I love you. And I will get to the bottom of this.
Thank you.
And she leaves. Is there
Doctor-
any of... Go ahead.
Dr. Verask, if I could have a moment with... I gesture over to Linda.
Of course.
Rask leaves.
And I walk over to the chamber, place my hand on it.
It's open, by the way.
I know.
Okay.
Hey, baby. It's been a while. I know we promised we'd meet each other again after everything, but not like this. You remember, remember when you took me to Paris? We went up on the Eiffel Tower, that old contraption. Rickety as hell. A city of lights, but for some reason the stars were just so brilliant that night. And you mentioned that you were gonna do everything you could to get your own ship one day. Every single star we could see, at least the ones that weren't just burnouts of Star Long Dead. Every single one of them had already been sharded and chorused and examined by something, but you knew there was something out there. You were going to find the star that no one saw. I said that. You're here already to start that everyone saw. Linda, I'm gonna find the son of a bitch who took our son. And I will make him pay for what he did. She or they, it doesn't matter. I promise you. They will die by my hand. And Harrison just kind of breaks down crying, leaning against the tube.
All right. I'm going to call that scene there. We have one last one we have to get up tonight. And Adcon, you're going to have to get into character's mindset.
Alrighty. Give me a minute.
Yeah. So, Catheris, you're on in your quarters on the Cassini when Ted swings by.
Oh, good.
Adcon, out of character. The Cavalier is being ordered away to investigate why, after that incident in Nimbus, piracy didn't go down in the Stygia sector. And Tanae thinks it might be related to the hand.
Commander.
Admiral.
I just, this is awkward as hell, I know. Cavalier's pulling out. We gotta head over to the Nimbus. Apparently pirate activity hasn't been going down, despite whatever the hell mess you guys made over there.
I mean, it is Nimbus.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna be away for a while, and look, I know I said, you said, I'm not good at this, is what I'm trying to say. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared to get my daughter back at all. Ever.
Well,
like, I'm processing this. I'm still not entirely sure if I'm ready or anything. Like I said, time. Need time, but
well, from the small bit I read, you seem to have a, mind the pun, history with
history with what?
with time.
No, you didn't. Oh.
It makes sense why a lot of my files were locked the way they were.
No, that was mostly me. Some of it.
Of course it was.
Just a couple
of course
parts,
it
but
was.
yeah. Okay, I've unlocked most of them, the ones I'm allowed to. So you can go ahead and look over them as much as you want. Like I said, I'm gonna have to process this, and what I'm trying to say is I'm gonna call you. And God, that sounds weird to say.
Thanks.
But I mean, yeah, you're clearly not the same person you were, and it's gonna take some getting adjusting to. But I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. And whatever happened, it's gone. And if I can help in some way with moving past that, I'm happy. But
Well, there might be one thing you could do.
yeah.
Hang on. Ted passes over a nice linear chip. This is some of the ongoing research with Dr. Zaka Vavantras. A lot of it pertaining to artificial intelligence research. I thought you might have an eye for it.
Oh,
He's also your other father.
I got that with the name thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I also put
I
his contact information on there.
I can ask that question later. It's fine. I'll just deal with that later. I actually hold on. And Catheris gets up and moves over to the bookshelf, which is now clear of most of the philosophical books, and picks up a small container and moves to Ted and holds it out.
What's this?
An olive branch.
Ted's gonna take it and open it up.
Inside is an old pocket watch, and inscribed on the cover is the phrase from Auguries of Innocence, time in the palm of your hand.
Ted's gonna look at that for a little bit. Close the container. And he's gonna hug Catheris.
Catheris just stands there for a really long moment before awkwardly pat.
Sorry, he kind of wipes the tear away a little bit.
Also, it's they now.
They. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. They it is. Like I said, this time, got to process everything. It's all messed up. But what you did in the hearing today? I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I made something good.
That's all you think a parent can ask for.
You just get an awkward smile.
Yeah, like I said, I'll contact you later. And just might be better if you come on something that's super uptight. I don't know. He probably tells me shit right now. Or might be kind of divorcing. I don't know. It's weird. I'll talk to you about it later. But
does he know about the whole thing that happened?
With Nimbus?
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just it's weird. It's weird and it's awkward and I hate that. But that's what our life is. That's what being a Wolvantress is. Things are weird and awkward. You don't like it, but you deal with it.
Huh.
And if you want to be one again, we can talk about it in the future.
All right. I'm not sure about having two apostrophes in my name, but
that's the thing. Oh. All right, I gotta get going. But
go.
Yeah. See you later. Ted's gonna turn to leave.
And
that's where we're ending it tonight. We'll see you next week, however, when the Cassini finally departs.
Yay!
Wow.